connecting to this region of the body, we'll do a practice for dorsal vagal. So I'm going to ask you to stay seated as you are and just pretend that you understand. Maybe you very intimately understand this, but otherwise you're going to pretend that you understand what it's like to be in collapse. So place your hands out over your knees. Remember the picture in like on the Mexican postcard, it's got the sombrero. All you see is a sombrero because the person sitting is asleep. So come down to that kind of position. And try to sense for yourself how this could be a safe position for somebody to adopt. What might feel comforting to someone to be here? We may have our bias about not being in a dorsal vagal slump. But right now we're just going to feel into what might this be like in terms of it becomes a resource for people to go to, a place that they may even default into. Let the posture come a little more forward until you are placing your hands at the small of your back, and you can bow forward until your head touches something, a blanket, a block, or the floor. As you come down, you might notice that this is one of the most stable of the options, right? Stable in this case means tamas, which also translates as inert or inertia. So there's a kind of inertia in this position, a tamasic expression. And I will ask you now to start breathing a little more deeply down into the lower belly. Encourage the breath to come into the back hemisphere of your waist, the sides of the torso. And then as you next exhale, start rooting the tailbone down, make it a little bit heavier. And then inhale, roll yourself up just to sitting. No need to greet the day or become, like happy-go-lucky. So just coming up to sitting. Place your hands out over your knees. We always move from dorsal vagal slowly, not an abrupt change. So we're going to make tiny circles right now. Circle the torso. You'll feel yourself weighting one sitting bone more than the other as you make a circle. And we'll make the circle rhythmically consistent. It's another very important thing about how our interpersonal neurobiological system gets developed, the rhythm in our environment. So when you make your circles, make them rhythmic for right now, so there's a consistency that you're providing to yourself. Let's change directions on the circle. Now, just having circles in the torso is already a big deal. Let's bring that around to center. But for someone who got capsized or collapsed, that is already a lot of movement to ask of them. And now we're going to combine a couple things. Place your hands out over your knees. I would recommend you move your blanket away and then curl down into cat pose for the spine. So take the tailbone forward, around your lower back, and breathe in. Exhale. And then inhale, press against your knees, roll your torso forward, and then up. And then exhale, curl back and down. So inhale, come forward, press your hands against your knees, and rise up slow. And exhale, may go full circle really of the spine. So you're going to go back and down. And then inhale. You might think of leading with your nose. You come forward, then your heart, then the belly button, then open, including your throat. And then exhale, curl down. Now come up to the center and let's place the left hand over the right hand. So we had some abdominal circles a moment back. So think of how you were moving around the torso there. Let's exhale and come into cat pose. So aim your tailbone towards your right knee. And then inhale, glide forward through your nose, your heart, the belly button, look up. And exhale, round your spine as if you could back up, but the hands are firm on your knees, so you can't go back that far. Inhale, forward and up. And exhale, rounding the spine, gaze inward, go inward. One more time, inhale, forward and up. And exhale, curl down and in. Two hands on the knees, round your back. Inhale up to center. Now put the right hand on the left, or sometimes I like to put the right hand underneath and then the left hand holds the right. It can be more firm that way. Round the spine on the exhale. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, rounding down, broaden the back of your waist. Inhale, lead with your chin, and then your throat, and then your heart, and the belly button. And exhale, curl down. And then inhale back to center. Let's pause for a moment and see if it's possible that you feel a little more connected to the inner belly and the base of your pelvis, but also a little more connected to life around you. Okay, let's take a seat on a blanket. And in this seat, put the soles of the feet together. It's Baddha Konasana, like this. All right, so in Baddha Konasana, you can hold onto the toes if you like, or you can hold your ankles. Press the knees out to the sides of the room. Hold firmly on whatever you're holding on to, and bring the chin down. Broaden the back of the body while you're sitting upright. Breathe in. And then exhale and come forward. And keeping the chin down towards the throat for now. Inhale, raise up to your seat until your arms are straight. And then exhale, come forward. So in this case, we're keeping the gaze down. And one of the characteristics of a dorsal vagal collapse is gaze aversion. But right now we're keeping the gaze purposely down. So it gives permission for that and also gives direction for the eyes. We exhale to come forward and down. Of course, that increases the stretch with the inner thighs. Inhale, rising up to your seat is going to increase the sense of verticality of the spine. And exhale one more time to come forward. Now this time as you inhale, last time to come up and simply upright. Now we're going to add this. Inhale, lift your heart, lift your gaze, look up. Exhale, turn right and look down. Inhale, gaze right and up. So immobilizing the body is also, exhale, go left and down. It means that we aren't moving the head about. And let's continue here. Inhale to go up. Since we aren't lizards, we don't have eyes on the sides of our head. Exhale down to the right. So when we go into a collapse and we have that tunnel vision, we have immobilized not just the body, but also our ability to sense the world around us and to see around us. So this is a vagal tone activity using your neck, your throat, and your eyes. You inhale up and exhale to the side and down. Let's do it one more time. Inhale up and exhale side and down. And then return to center and see if you can sit comfortably in Baddha Konasana. Hands out over the knees. So notice that it's already a larger space that you're encompassing just by putting the feet into Baddha Konasana. And then let's bring the feet and knees up and transition up to stand. You can put your blanket aside. Okay, so let's picture that you have been in this sort of dorsal vagal place, right? And so this is a huge thing. You stood up. Big thing. I have a fingerprint that's obscuring my view of you. So coming up to stand, we're actually not going to stay upright that long. We're going to give someone permission to go from sitting, and perhaps they were doing the sequence we just did in a chair. So now standing from the chair is less of a leap evolutionarily, but standing up from the floor is pretty big, like when we were children, you know, lying down on our backs, lying on the stomach, learning to crawl, eventually standing up, and eventually standing up on our own. So come down to Prasarita Padottanasana. Release the weight of your head. Energize the legs. Now in this downward forward bending, we are intentionally going inward and downward. So it cultivates tamas, but it keeps a person who's been in dorsal vagal a little closer to their preferred reflex. We're going to use this model of gently awakening from dorsal vagal towards ventral vagal. So in the same way that we were just moving the head about in the pose we were doing seated, let's just allow the head to make some gentle circles. Like looking over to your right, over to your left, giving the head a circle in the same way we had the belly making circles earlier. Release unnecessary tension or holding. You might even stretch the tongue out or open the jaw. And then rise up to your fingertips. And as you come up to your fingertips, look down at the space between your hands and consider that to be the center spot. Now, some of you will be using blocks because the floor will seem too far away for you, and that is totally fine. Put your hands on blocks, but put a block between the two hands as well. Let's place the left hand in the center of the two hands, and then inhale. And as you open to your right, I'm going to ask you to trace your right thumb with your eyes. And then exhale, come back down, following your thumb with your eyes. And we're just going to do that about 4 times. So if you'll specifically follow your thumb, that means that the space beyond your thumb is a little bit blurry right now. Keep the legs stable and the body strong. Move with the rhythm of your breathing. And then one more time, inhale, open to your right. And exhale to come down. Let's change sides. Place the right hand down. Inhale, follow your left thumb. You need to follow the thumb at the pace that your body and mind and breath can move together, also at a pace that is comfortable for the eyes. The background's going to be blurry. Anything beyond your thumb will be a little bit blurry. That's appropriate. We'll do this 3 times more. It's not necessary to reach to the fullest extent possible or to have the greatest flexibility ever. We happen to be using this position because we're in a yoga practice and it's really nice to bring some energy and aliveness to the body. But this activity we're doing right here, you can bring that to a close. You could have done that sitting in a chair with the thumb out to the side in the room that you're sitting in. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose, down to the lower belly. Please energize your legs. Raise your hands up to your hips and inhale, rise up to standing. And then we're going to go heel toe, center. Okay. So if you were then standing up, this would be quite a change from that dorsal vagal collapse. If you've been doing this practice seated in a chair with somebody and they just did this sitting in a chair, totally fine. They may not be ready to be more dynamic than that. But now you can have them also come back to center, and let's gaze at the horizon. And when you're gazing out at the horizon, without having to move the eyes, begin sensing the space around you. It's a really important brain activation that happens there. The gaze is forward at nothing, it's relatively still. And start sensing the surround. You're awakening part of your brain that has a social engagement network, a social engagement context. Now we'll complete this short practice for the dorsal vagal. Let's inhale, raise both arms up overhead. And sense that surround space. Hold your right wrist with your left hand and exhale, side bend to your left. Notice in side bending that you're going to be breathing down into the right low belly and even the lower back. Some of those nerve fibers again in the lower gut region of the body. Keep both legs strong and stable. Inhalation, rise up to center. Hold your left wrist with your right hand, reach up. Next inhale, come over to your right. Keep both legs grounded and centered. Notice the opening you have in the left low belly. Sometimes what happens with dorsal vagal is a shutdown for the gut as well. It is called the gut-brain axis for a reason. So working with the colon does become important. Inhale up to center. Let's clasp the hands, press them up overhead. And exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale at your own pace. Exhale at your own pace. So having the arms overhead here and the fingers interlaced is also awakening the upper back, and that is the region of your sympathetic nervous system fibers. So it would be a good way to wake up your fight or flight if you had to. We could call that a sense of appropriate motivation, right? A sense of energy or vitality, some determination gets woken up. We don't want to wake that up into fight like aggressiveness or flight like dashing away or driving off into some mysterious sunset. And let's inhale, rise up to the tiptoes. And then exhale, take the arms out, sense the surround, and drop your heels down. Relax your arms and close your eyes. Imagine yourself as interconnected to life itself. Could even let some inspiring people come to mind. Viktor Frankl, Aung San Suu Kyi, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Inspire people who would root for you not to be just beholden to a painful past. So if that's for your dorsal vagal nervous system, now such a person could then go for a walk outdoors, experience nature, keep it simple, enjoy some food, digest some food, rather than having the gut become frozen also in the form of things like constipation, for example. If you have questions or comments about the practice, please do leave those down below the video. I look forward to hearing from you. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do that as well. And don't forget to click the like button if the practice is helpful to you. Thank you very much. Namaste.